Brought to you by Sip for Your Cause.
Welcome again to another episode of Let's Talk Nonprofits, programming where we provide best practices for nonprofit organizations to increase their awareness, their funding, their sustainability, and ultimately their impact. So we're grateful that you've joined us again, and those of you who are joining us for the first time, you can find our other episodes at www.bizlinks.tv. You can also go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, and share at youtube.com/bizlinkstv, and also you can like us and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/bizlinkstv. So thank you again for joining us, and welcome to hear about another great organization that's being led by a tremendous leader in the person of Miss Lula Gilliam. And welcome, Lula, to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about Youth Enhancement Services, also known as YES. I wanted the affirmative out there on behalf of the work that we do.
And I would tell you guys, if you haven't picked up already, there's an energy about her, and I say an energy particularly from a mindset that you're going to pick up throughout this show. But she has a mindset, like she just said, yes, in the affirmative, and everything even prior to us coming on the air, that's been her whole attitude, that is nothing can stop the let's make it happen, is going to work. So I am grateful to have you here to talk about YES, Youth Enhancement Services.
Yes.
And begin to talk about the youth of our today. Before we begin, just tell them a little bit about who Lula Gilliam, the woman, is.
Let's see now. I was born and raised in Mississippi,
Okay.
and I grew up very poor. And after growing up poor, and I tell my students when they tell me, well, Miss G, you don't understand, that's their affectionate name for me, is Miss G. You just don't understand. I said, what I do understand is poverty, and I understand the stifling effects of poverty, but I also understand how education can level the playing field as much as the playing field can be leveled. I share with them that after I left Mississippi upon graduation, I had the opportunity to live with an older sister in California. Not only did I not envision the life that I'm leading, because sometimes poverty can kill your dreams, or you not have any in the first place.
Okay.
So upon moving to California and living with my sister, I met a young lady there who became my mentor, my sister, my friend, Renee Toller, who really literally took me by the hand and said, you're Berkeley material.
Wow.
So, and that's what it's going to take in our community, for us to stop being so selfish, and to take these young people by the hand and say, you're Morehouse, you're Spelman, you're UGA, you're Georgia Tech material, and to have them to believe that. And I was able to graduate with a dual degree from UC Berkeley, and I just figured, I'd go somewhere and make some money. But I was led back into the community to help young people, other young people the same as I at one time, to find their way out of poverty through education. And that's really how YES got started. I had worked for a nonprofit before and didn't feel that they had the direct services that were needed in our community to uplift these young people from poverty. I initially started working with this company called Real Group, contracting with them, and we were working in Fulton County Juvenile Court. YES started with young women with parenting skills classes, and I saw that these young women, not only were they teen mothers, they had dropped out of school. And I had to add the GED component to life skills and character development. I knew firsthand that you could not do anything without an education.
I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm in my research about the organization and I did see the UC Berkeley there, and but I would tell you that, like you say, we see Lula Gilliam now But again, we didn't see the Lula Gilliam in Mississippi and know
it was
that.
hard.
Yeah, and but looking at you, talking with you, we would never know that. And I think that I don't think, but I know that's a great advantage for you in terms of having the students understand that, and your transparency is what I find so refreshing, that you're willing to not carry on the facade that this has been my life always, but you're willing to share with your students and young people about the fact that, no, I can clearly relate, and I can also tell you can also achieve and do the things that you are out to do. So thank you for sharing that. I hear you say that, yes, begin with the relationship with the nonprofit organization and your direct service interest. So let's go a little further into that. We hear, so that was an inspiration point for you starting the Yes. But what are some of the challenges that you faced in starting? Because right now you've been at this for a good while.
It's 25 years this year.
Yes, congratulations
well,
to that.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it's been hard just about every day of those 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, and this is one of the other purposes of this show, and those of you who regularly watch us, we seek to glean from those leaders to find out those challenges and what did they do to overcome it, and they've been able to sustain themselves for 25 years. And we want you to be able to hear this, because as you're going through whatever challenges you're facing, we want you to get these nuggets and begin to apply them, and also reach out to them. I'm sure that Lula doesn't operate in a silo and be willing to share, the realities of what she's experienced, whether you're starting out or you're engaged at the length of time that she has. So, but listen to the nuggets, and so share with us those challenges, and if there's one major challenge that you would like to share with us and how you overcame it, and the advice that you would give to an organization that might be facing a similar challenge.
I don't know whether I've overcome it,
okay,
so to speak, but it's always a challenge of raising money so that you can have continuity of programs and services at a very high level. And it's unfortunate, I find, that in our community, in the black community, we'll give to the church, just abundantly. However, we don't seek out those nonprofits that are truly making an impact in our communities. So we're kind of starving for financial support out here. And I know we do really great work, and we're committed and we're passionate, but I just don't know how to have folks in our communities, especially in our communities, to understand that if they can change the educational outcome of a child and the mental health outcomes, that you can change the world forever.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And you mentioned about the funding, which, again, on this show, it is one of the components in which we actually focus. Hopefully, something that's said, resources that come here, people are able to tap into, whether they are those individuals in that funding space who share opportunities for that. But you mentioned something about the churches. And, those of you who may not know, I am an ordained minister, so some of the things that you might hear me say right now, you're like, is he really a minister? Is he really ordained? But I'm of the opinion, you talk about the amount of money that's given to churches, and, and I'm all support religious organizations, I believe in that. I do know the scripture that talks about bring you all the tithe into the storehouse, but I'm also a believer of this, and, you can question the scriptural basis of it or not. But just what you said, I believe that it is a good thing if we take whatever tithe and offering that we have, give to the church, but if we took a portion of that and shared it with and whether it's a regular systematic thing, that's a specific portion of that. And I say regular systematic because the nonprofit organizations need to know on a monthly basis the operational budget. And so, again, this is Nash speaking. I'm like Paul, the scriptures didn't say this, but I do believe that, when you're reaching out and you're helping organizations and supporting them the way that you're hearing the need is there, it cannot be be anything but blessed. And and if I am contrary to what the scriptures say, just comment and let's have a discussion on the YouTube space, and we'll engage that way. But I'm with you on that, and I think that there needs to be some type of strategic initiative where we're able to funnel money to these nonprofits that are doing great work, such as yours. I'm going to say another thing on that point, which I may not have shared when we first spoke, but my background for more than 20 years is in education. The last 20 of those years were last 11 of those 20 years was principals of high schools and middle schools. So in essence, I was trying to keep you from having a job.
And that was okay. I've been working myself out of a job
yes,
forever, I
yes.
thought.
And let me tell you, in preparing for this program, that actually came to my mind, because I thought about that. I said, well, I'm trying to keep her from him. But then I thought about all these nonprofit
I'm
organizations.
multi-talented, okay? let's just keep it real.
Because if you solved the problem that you're trying to solve, there would be no need. And I thought about that no matter what the nonprofit organization is, they would truly be out, and they're seeking that. So let's go a little further. So what was the point of all my rant on that? My rant is that please find a way in which you're giving to your charitable donations, which it is to the church as well. But find out what portion of that you can redirect. And right now we're asking you, as you hear more and learn more about that you would consider supporting Lula, Gilliam, and her team as they seek to help young people find a way out of where they find themselves in. And in fact, before we go further into the conversation, you use the term out-of-school youth. And I'm not sure, and I know this is, but that stuck to me. You didn't say dropouts. You didn't say, you said out-of-school youth. Was that intentional, or talk to me about that?
Well, once you're in the realm that we work in, you find out that there are so many different reasons that children leave school.
Okay.
It's not just, I show up one day and I don't like this mess here, let me just drop out. We've had young people who left school to take care of elderly or sick family members. We've had children to leave school because they were ill. So there are all kinds of reasons. And I think if we start using more euphemistic terminology and just changing our whole mindset, that we'll care more about these children.
Yes. I'm telling you, that just stood out for me, and I couldn't wait to talk with you about it, to find that. But I received that. I received that, and again, I would strongly encourage you, as you engage young people who are no longer attending school, think about that. Think about the way in which you frame, even if you're engaging them and trying to encourage them to get back in school or whatever. Refuse to use the term to drop out, because there is that negative connotation as failure and those other things. And
well, we also use disconnected.
Okay.
Because there is a great divide, a disconnect, if you will. And I shared with you, I just got in from Chicago last night, and I was reading on the plane this book called Home is a Dirty Street. And it was about, and when I picked it up from my library at home, I said, okay, I hadn't picked this book up in a long time. And I had forgotten it was set in Chicago, in the Lawndale community. And the copyright was 1973. And as I'm reading this book on the plane, and I'm walking down the streets of Chicago, and I'm seeing in the eyes of those young men and young women the same disconnect that I see in Atlanta, that I saw in New Orleans when I was there not long ago, or in Oakland and Berkeley, California. It's such a common theme in their lives, that disconnect. So how do we engage them? Because I can't even say re-engage, because we would be thinking they were engaged in the first place. That's correct. So how do we care about other children that did not pass through our bodies, but act as though they did and feel as though they did? And that's what I do. I have one child biologically, but I have many, many children that I call my own.
Yes. I would tell you, if you haven't picked up on it already, just hearing her talk, her passion. And it's more than a passion. It comes off, and it's clear that it is a commitment, it's a lifestyle, it exudes through her. We're going to talk more about the details and the workings of the YES organization. But I want you to, while we go to this break, go ahead and go to the website, and I'm going to have Lula give that to you while we're on break. Look them up, see what they do, find out how to engage with them, and I think you sense already that there's a passion that is surpassed in terms of, again, a commitment to a lifestyle of helping young people live better. Would you share with them how to reach you and your website?
Yes, you can reach us at www.yesgeorgia.org, and Georgia is spelled out. Yes, Georgia, Georgia.org. You can also contact our office at 404-215-7898. We would love to hear from you.
Please go and visit the website while we're gone and learn more about the Youth Enhancement Services, and reach out to Ms. Lula Gilliam and her team and find out how you might help. And once more, before we go to break, consider taking a portion of that tithe and that offering and redirecting it, particularly after this episode, directing it to the YES organization. Thank you, and we will see you after the break.
What happens when soldiers come home? Brene Foundation offers hero support to ensure that our heroes abroad can continue to be heroes at home. We link veterans with organizations who are dedicated to guiding the transition from military hero to civilian hero. If you want to find out how you can support our troops at home, please contact the Brene Foundation or visit brene.com.
Does your son need a more challenging, focused, and encouraging educational environment? Renaissance Christian Academy is an affordable private school for boys located in McDonough, Georgia, with certified teachers that are uniquely equipped to help your son master learning. You're welcome to schedule a tour of our facilities by calling 770-305-9881 or by visiting our website at rcaboysacademy.org. Renaissance Christian Academy, developing young men to be great leaders through Christ-centered learning.
Thank you and welcome. We thank you for we thank our sponsors for their support, SIP for Your Cause, and we ask that you visit the website at www.sipforyourcause.org. And as you see the various nonprofits there, we ask that you did choose one or two or all of them, if you would, to support, read and engage with them and find out the great work that they're doing, and find out how you might engage: human capital, volunteering, financial contributions, whatever it is that you're able to do. Spread the word, put it out through your social media network, get others involved, get a team of people together and make it a challenge, and work towards improving our community through the support of nonprofit organizations. So again, we thank all of our sponsors and the advertisers for making this programming possible. We're here with Ms. Lula Gilliam. She is the founder and executive director of...
I'm not the executive director.
I apologize. She is the founder. It's such a habit that, that most people will wear both hats, and I think it's smart. But she's the founder of the Youth Enhancement Services, and so we've enjoyed our first segment, and we're going to get a little deeper into all the work that goes on with the organization and find out, what it is that you can do to help. I want to start out by talking about your 25 campaign that you have going on, and share with us what is that about and how can people participate.
Okay, we wanted to celebrate 25 years of service, and with the hopes that the community would see and understand the impact that we have had. And Year 25 is a campaign whereas you can donate $25 a month to help to expand and enhance the services of Youth Enhancement Services.
Yeah. And guys, $25 a month. I don't really need to say more. I mean, literally, $25 a month, we throw that away. We don't even know where we spent the last $25 in the last 2 weeks. And to be able to redirect $25 to this organization to help our youth.
Well, when you consider, if you were to lock up, and we lock up plenty of our children, it's $91,000 a year to lock up a child, because they have to have the mental health services, educational services, and everything else entailed in locking up a child. And it's more expensive than locking up adults. So think about it as this: okay, would I rather have my tax dollars go to $91,000 a year per child, or can I spare $25 a month for that same child?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And guys, please visit the website and find out how to get involved and participate and support. I'm going to ask you, if you could change anything about starting a nonprofit, what would it be?
Well, I think I would try the Oprah model.
Okay.
Yes, I would go make the money first.
Oh, wow.
Because it can be very challenging financially, both for you personally as well as professionally. Especially when you're committed to something and you just put not just yourself into it physically, but your money's into it as well. And when you don't have that buy-in from the community at the level that you were hoping for, when I initially started, I'm like, surely they know that there's a problem out here with our kids leaving school and that school-to-prison pipeline, and especially in the African-American community. Surely we know, but the question becomes, do we care?
Right.
And when you look at our graduation rates, just in my community, over at Banneker High School, you have less than a 60% graduation rate over there. I think it's about 53%. And Creekside High School at 58%. You have McLaren at 25%. And these are all from 2014. The 2015, they haven't come out yet.
Right.
But we know that there's something that has gone just amok in our communities. And we live in just diametrically opposing worlds. You know, we have the black folks doing really well in our gated communities and the Cascade cliques and the this, that, and the other. And then we have over here our kids who have fallen, we used to say, falling through the cracks. It's the Grand Canyon of cracks. So let's be clear. It's so much larger than a crack that we've allowed to exist.
And let me say that when she mentioned the Cascade clique, you know, that is characteristic of wherever that clique may be.
Of course.
She's not isolating. So those of you who want to take this and run with it, you know, we want you to understand that she's not isolating that. That is the description of many cliques financially in our black community, where we have arrived at a financial level and we seem to have forgotten about those who, as you yourself and I, you know, were able to come out of levels of poverty, and some people forget that, and so I want to make sure. So, but if you would like to take
and they can call me.
And I was about to say, well, let me tell you, you can call her, but you can also comment with me as well. I would love that conversation, and then would love to be able to get together and speak civilly, and let's come up with a solution to it, because there is a significant amount of money in the black community that can be redirected to attend to our youth. In fact, I'm going to go down this road. Earlier we were talking before we started this programming, but you made a very damning statement, and I think it's something that we should address. You shared with me that you have experienced anecdotal evidence that would suggest that we don't care about our young people ages 16 to 24, that they're lost. Would you expound upon that, please?
And when I say that, I'm not throwing a blanket like the whole Cascade.
Correct.
And I'm writing a book called Sophisticated Violence. And in the introduction, I said this can be Atlanta, Baltimore, Oakland.
Yes.
This can be South Africa.
Yes.
This can be wherever.
Yes.
So, just to say to the audience, you know, it's interchangeable.
Yeah.
The narratives are interchangeable.
Correct.
It doesn't matter the location.
That's correct.
But, you know, our kids are not being cared for. If they were, then we would not have the numbers, the overwhelming numbers that we're seeing of our young people going to prison, of our young people leaving schools, of our young people with mental health issues that are not being addressed. If we really cared about them, the numbers would not be as great as they are.
I hear you. And again, I want to encourage you to engage with Lula Gilliam and the YES organization to find out more about those. Again, I use that term intentionally, the damning statistic that supports what she's saying, and find out how you can get involved. Again, you know, if you're feeling uncomfortable right now as a result of the conversation, the statements that are being made, great. I'm appreciative, and I want you to take that uncomfortable setting and utilize it to engage in meaningful conversation to help come up with a solution. For 25 years, that's what Lula's been doing. She has seen a need and a cause and a need to bring about some adjustments to that, and she just didn't talk about it, but she sacrificed a lifestyle that she definitely could have had going in a different route to make sure that other young people will have an opportunity to achieve that lifestyle. So I want to say, again, when you talk about starting a nonprofit, and you would suggest that people do it in a more strategic way of getting your money first.
Oprah.
Yeah, the Oprah method.
The Oprah method.
But I would tell you, but you bring up a great point, because it's something that we often share here on our programming, that nonprofits or businesses, you know, that if you heard what she just said, it's the same thing that a business entrepreneur has to say. And so what I would like for you to do is take the nugget that she's talking about, you know, doing your research carefully, find out the sector that you're interested in addressing, and again determine what is the cost, and begin to get that on the front end and garner your supporters before, so that the road won't have to be as bumpy. I assure you there will continue to be bumps on the road, but as Lula's indicating, it can be less bumpy than not doing those. Would you agree? Is that an accurate? Okay.
Well, everybody does not need to start a nonprofit. You know, every time you hear someone talk, oh, I'm starting a nonprofit. Why?
Yes.
You know, if there's a group out there who's doing phenomenal
Yes.
work, try to work with them. It was just at the time, 25 years ago, I think society was really in a fog about the number of young people leaving school.
Okay.
And then there was this social promotion, whereas they were
Right.
passing kids along,
Right.
even though they could not read.
That's right.
So you really didn't have a lot of groups out there addressing young people leaving school, even though they were still leaving. We were really in denial.
Yes, and therefore that was the need at that time. And as Lula says, and as we say here repeatedly, you know, we would discourage you from starting a nonprofit organization. We would encourage you rather to do research and find out those organizations that are out there who are in the same area of interest, cause-related initiatives, and find out how you can contribute your services with it. You know, Lula, would you dare, and I grant you permission, you know, you can correct me here on the show, but would you turn away anybody that had the intellectual capacity to bring to your organization and help it to move forward if they're interested in that area of service that you are?
We welcome that.
Thank you. And so again, you've heard it from someone who's doing it, that you would be welcome. So before you take on the initiative and research and all the time and energy, redirect those to an organization. And I'm saying if you have an interest in the youth 16 to 24 who are out of school, please reach out to Lula and her team at YES organization. So the message for the community, for our youth, I mean, I'm hearing it loud and clearly, but I'm going to ask you, you know, do you have a message for those parents of the demographics for the youth for YES services? In other words, let me rephrase. In other words, those parents of children who you serve, the demographic that you serve, what are some messages that you would have for them?
Well, I say to parents, you have to remember that you are a parent first. I'm a parent. There was nothing that meant more to me than making sure my baby was okay. And I want to see that same level of commitment from all of the parents that we work with. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I had one of my young men say to me that the only picture he had of his mother was a mugshot. And his mother is now serving life in prison. She used to take him with her to rob places. That is not being a mother. It doesn't matter what your needs are, if the lights are out. That's not what you teach your child. So I want parents to be very clear about their roles as parents, and that the utmost role they have is to keep their children safe and to make their children feel loved at all times and connected.
Yeah. I want to ask, what are some specific services that you provide the youth who come into the program?
Okay, initially it starts out as the GED preparation educational services, but we also have empowerment, and the empowerment will be through life skills, character development, workforce readiness, cultural enrichment, those things that we found that just having a GED program was not enough in itself. Yeah. So those are some of the other subjects we do.
And you can find that information on the website, and they go into greater details about those services that are provided. But again, this is why the financial need is there, because as you heard, it started out as trying to help young people get the GED. But as they found other needs, being warranted, it expanded. And as you expand, and even to maintain, there's a financial support that's required for that. So again, I would tell you that I'm asking that you would go to the website, reach out to Lula and her team, find out how you can contribute and help them maintain and expand their programming. It's very critical. So not only that, I'm going to ask you to take, as we always do, take this episode, whether you're watching YouTube or you're looking on the bizlinks.tv website, but take it, share it throughout your network, and don't just put it out there. Put a comment, update your status, and let them know here's a great organization that's making a difference in the community with youth ages 16 to 24. And tell them to take action to support it in the various ways that are offered on the website. I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to also say that, and for those of your friends and who complain about young people breaking into their homes or robbing them or carjacking, tell them if they want to take a step towards changing that, get involved with Youth Enhancement Services, and I assure you that the work that they do will help you feel a little safer. All right. So I want to, before we go, I want to talk about also the responsibility of government agencies addressing the needs of at-risk youth population. What are some requests that you have of government agencies?
Well, I think they get it all wrong most of the time. And, the way they have programs set up, and people refer to them as entitlement programs. Yeah. For example, I would not have Section 8 become a legacy that you pass on to your children. There should be timelines. I wouldn't have, and I believe everyone should eat. But you shouldn't leave a legacy of poverty. And that's how these government agencies are set up, to keep people just, I guess, more indebted to the government.
Yeah, I hear you. In essence, as long as someone can keep you dependent upon them,
then they have an audience, a captive audience.
Exactly.
And you were talking about having, folks to reach out. If you're tired of folks breaking in. My home was burglarized 4 times in a 2-year period, and it was devastating. And the chances were that there were young men and women of the prototype of the young folks that I work with every day. But that didn't stop me from working with them.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So in other words, get involved, make a difference. And before we go, any other comments that you would like to leave with the audience before we leave? And, anything.
Well, not just youth enhancement services. If you're not moved to work with young people 16 to 24 and expanding their educational opportunities, then my challenge to you is to go find an impacting agency that you can work with. Sickle Cell Foundation. Just, it's really about making a difference and leaving a legacy that's worth talking about. I just read a book called The Other Wes Moore, and Wes Moore is going to be in town this week at the Carter Center Library. And it was one name, two fates, whereas Wes Moore, the one who's coming to town, Rhodes Scholar, went to Johns Hopkins University, and the other Wes Moore is spending the rest of his life in prison. And Wes Moore, that's going to be here, said, the chilling truth that his story could have been mine, but the tragedy is that my story could have been his. And we have Wes Moores throughout this country. And we just need to step up. We get all excited when the latest, Michael Jordan tennis shoe comes out, and we'll go and pay $200-300, and we'll go sit at bars. And, I love the Warriors. I want them to win. But the money that we will spend at a bar, setting up drinks around the table, eating chicken wings, drinking beer, and talking BS. We could change the life of a child. So, and I challenge the audience to do that. Great.
I don't have a better way to close out this episode. Lula, you have definitely put it out there. Plain, we speak the straight truth, and so you've added to that conversation, and we're appreciative for you being a guest to share the youth enhancement services and the work that you're doing for the past 25 years, and inviting you to join her on the next 25. So again, we do thank you for joining us. And before we go, remind them how to contact you.
Well, first I want to say the agency is run by Kai Williamson. She's our executive director. She's also my daughter, who took over when I got really ill. But contact us at area code 404-215-7898. And our website you may go to is www.yesgeorgia.org. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, more than our privilege. So again, guys, we ask that you would put your comments out there, engage with us, engage with Lula. If you leave something for us to get to Lula, we'll make sure that happens so that you can reach out. But reach out to them personally. And we encourage you to share, again, this episode throughout your social media networks. And we ask that you visit us the next time as we discuss nonprofits and how to increase awareness, funding, sustainability, and ultimately impact. Until next time, this SIP's for you.